Hi, in this video we will learn about how to use custom node templates in our private repository. As you might remember, in our first video in private repository, we learned about how to use the application templates, how to store application templates, and how to use these application templates to create new applications. In this video we will be focusing on the nodes part. So we will be creating custom nodes and saving them in our private repository and using those nodes in our other applications. For this purpose we will be creating a basic application. Let's call it weather app. This will be a blank application. Okay, let's create this thing. So let's get into this application. So what we will be doing is the following actually. Let's assume that this is a weather application where users will be able to see some weather forecast information and so on for some cities. So let's create an endpoint called, okay, get weather of a city. Get weather info of a city. Let's put it like that. Okay. And this will be a get request, and we will be having a path of weather. Okay. And the routed service will be, I will copy paste it, get weather info of a city. Okay, let's create this thing. If I go to the service, this is our service. In our service we need to enter some input parameters. For this purpose we will be using this one, the OpenWeather map API. Okay, and if I go to the documentation, current weather data, if I go to the documentation for this thing, it says that hey, you can get the weather information by city. Okay, in order to get the thing you need to use this kind of URL with some query string parameters. Anything that is after like the question mark is query string parameters. In this case we've got two query string parameters, Q, the city name, and the API, the API key for this platform. So we will be using a get request to get the weather information for a city. Okay, how we can do that one? The first thing that we can do is that we can run a call REST API. Okay. And this will be a get method, but before that one, for our endpoint we will be getting two query string parameters. The first one is we will be, as an input, we will be getting the city, and the other one is the API key for the OpenWeather platform. Okay, and get request, what's the endpoint? The endpoint of our request is this one. Anything before the query string parameter. Let me copy this thing. If I go back here, of course it's not mentioned in the documentation, but you need to put here the HTTPS. Okay, authentication, no authentication, then query parameters. Okay, we've got two query parameters. The first one is the Q, and this will be the city information which we will be getting from the query string parameter of the service. This is the city, and the second parameter is app ID. Okay, and this is app ID, and we will be getting this parameter from again the query string API key. Okay, so far so good. We don't need to account any headers, body type, nothing. Then we've got an output. Okay, what's the output of this thing? If I go to documentation here, weather fields in API response, if I go back down here, this is the response that we will be getting as a result of calling that API, making the API request. I copied this thing, come back here. I'm saying that, hey, as an output, we will be getting an object, right? This is a JSON object, the curly brackets, right? This is a JSON object. So I will be getting an object, not list, object. And the response model will look something like this. I copy it past here. If I put here next, Autogic automatically creates the JSON structure, the response structure with the correct field types and field names. What you need to do is that make sure that these are the right field types, and I think these are the right ones. No problem with this thing. If I click on finish, that's it. So we can make this API call, and let's put a response node here. Okay, return success response. If I come back here, if I move this thing here, yep. If I click on here, for example, I can see the input parameters, input information here. I mean, this means that, for example, you can put here some logical statements if you want to. I mean, depending on the business logic, right? If I move this thing here, I can use the response that I receive from my API call in my other nodes, basically. This is one of the powerful features of Autogic, right? Whatever you get as a response, you can use this as an input to some other nodes. Anyway, this is for your information. So this is the service we had. Let's test let's test this service. For that purpose, we'll be creating an environment. Let's call it development. Okay, let's create the development environment. Let's deploy our snapshot here. We've got working on the master one. Deployment completed. Let's go to the test panel. Okay, let's go to text panel. Okay, so this is our service. City, let's put it Chicago. Okay, API key. We need to get the API key here. I mean, I will be deleting these API keys after I complete this video, but in any case, let's use one of those. Okay, send. As you can see, as a response, we get the weather information for Chicago. Okay, temperature 284. I think this is related to which metric we have used. I think in the query string parameters there's another parameter that you can send, units. Let's get the units in metrics in Celsius. Okay, so for that purpose, what we need to do is we will go back to the service. On here, another query string parameter we had, units. Is it correct? Units? Right, yeah, right. And we will be putting here metric. Okay. I go back here. If I run the service again, in this case, I get the temperature in Celsius. Okay. So far so good. So this is our first service. The question is the following. What happens if I would like to use the same service, the same REST API call in some other service? Let's say I've got another endpoint. Let's put it here. Get weather by, I don't know, by city 2. Another endpoint we are creating, let's assume. Okay, weather 2, and I will be here get weather by city 2. Sorry. Okay, this is my second service. What do I need to do? I mean, if I would like to get the same, if I need to run the same API request, do I need to replicate everything that I did here? Yes, in this case you need to do replication. You need to input everything again. But there's an easier way to do this thing. Okay, what we'll be doing, we will be creating a custom node for our application. So if I go to the settings, custom nodes, okay, and on here I will be creating a new custom node. What's the name of the what's the name of our, let's say, custom node? Get weather of a city. Okay, there is no group right now. As a description, I will put the same thing. Okay, this will be getting an input by default, an input object. The name of the input will be input. Okay, and output as an output. Okay, it will be returning a JSON object. This is my JSON structure output. Okay, copy this thing here. Come back here. Yeah, this is the JSON. This is the automatically parsed JSON structure. Finish. This is the output I will be getting. Okay, let's put here, let's say weather info. Then next, there's some parameters we need to insert in here. Okay, what are some of the parameters we will be using? The first thing that we can use is the city. Okay, city name of the city to get the weather information. This will be a text value. It will be expression. We will be using an expression editor to get this, to enter this value. This is a required parameter. Okay. Next, another parameter we will be getting is the API key. API, let's say app ID. I think here they call it app ID, I guess, right? Yeah, app ID. Okay, they call it app ID. Okay, application API key value. Again, this will be a text parameter. Okay, so I created two input parameters. Okay, next, the endpoint we will be calling is, as usual, this is the endpoint we will be calling. Copy this thing here. Go back here. HTTPS. Sorry. Instead of, okay, no authentication, that's fine. Query parameters, yes, we've got two query parameters, right? The first query parameter will be Q, which will be which we will be entering the city information like Q, city name. How will we be getting the city name? The city name will be coming from the input parameter that we set, city, okay, for this node. Another query string parameter we will have is app ID, and the app ID will be mapping to the API key. Okay, that's it. So next, do we need some additional headers? No, we don't need. Do we have the request body? No, we don't need the request body. Let me check one thing. This is app ID. Okay, correct. Okay, everything looks fine. I click on the finish. So I've got a new node, custom node, REST API node called get weather of a city. So let's return back to my second, let's say, service. As you can see, there is a new tab on the node library part, custom. If I click on custom, as you can see, there is a new custom node called get weather of a city. If I drag and drop this thing here, okay, if I connect this thing, and you see there are two input parameters that we configured in for this node, city name and app ID, okay. For the city name, we will be getting it as an input parameter, city name, okay. And we will be getting the city name from the query string parameter of our service, app ID. Okay, we can send the app ID as a query string parameter, but what I will do is the following. This is like a sensitive information. I will be going to create a parameter, application parameter, okay. Open weather app API key, let's put it API key. This is a text, and my API key here, one of them, I will be copying one of them. Okay, come back here, paste here, that's it. So if I go back to my second service, this is the city name, and the app ID will be coming from app params. So this is the new parameter that you can think of this like an environment variables, right? I mean, some constant values that we use for the application. By the way, you can override these environment variables at the environment level, execution environment level, but it's another topic. Let's put it here. Okay, let's put a response node here also. Okay, let's see response. Okay, so we did it. So let's go back to our second service. Let's put it like New York. Okay. Yep, New York is also working. Again, we can make a change here. If I go back to my custom node, if I go back here, okay, I need to put another query string parameter. No, not input parameter, sorry. Query string parameter I need to add here, another one. Units, and this will be metric. By default, we will be getting metric, okay? Next, finish. Okay, so I also updated this thing. Let's run this thing again. This will not change, by the way, okay? Let's run this thing. This is again the same thing. What happens is the following. I made an update on this node. What happens is the following. If I go back to this node, the get weather of a city, uses the version that's for the custom node that was available at that time. Okay, so if I would like to reflect the changes, I need to delete this thing. I need to go back to here. I need to recreate it because it uses the older version. Now I am using the newer version for this node, and the city name will be coming from the query, and the app ID will be coming from the app params. And I put everything here. Now if I run this thing here, as you can see, the temperature for New York is 10.5 Celsius. Okay, so this is custom nodes. So the other question, I mean, we solved the problem to use this custom node in other services of our application. What happens if you would like to use this custom node in our other applications? Okay, I would like to get the weather information by a city in some other application. Okay, let's create another application. Let's put it in a dummy application. Dummy app. Okay, let's make it blank. Okay, let's get into this application. Okay, let's create another endpoint here. Get weather. Let's put it weather. Get weather. Okay, sorry. If I get into the service, do I have the custom node here? No, I don't see my custom node here because this is another application. So how we will be solving this thing? Okay, how we can share custom nodes that I developed in one application in some other application. Okay, so again, you need to go to the application settings. Okay, the custom nodes part. This is the custom node that we developed. When I click on this menu button, submit to private repository. Okay, let's submit this thing to private repository. It is submitted to the private repository. If I go back to here, if I go my repository here, okay, if I go to the nodes, as you can see, we've got the get weather of a city. I can also edit it here at this level. When you edit it, it only make the changes in your repository. It doesn't change the custom node definition in your application. Okay, so this makes it only changes in here. So let's go back to our new application, the dummy application. Okay, and if I go to the service, okay, as you can see, there is a new tab here, repository. If I click on that one, I can see my new node. If I move it in here, okay, city name, this app parameter, again we've got a let's say query string parameter city name. Okay, and this will be getting from the city name. For the API key, similar to what we have done here, we will be creating an API key, and the value for the API key will be this one. Okay. Okay, if I go back to my service, the API key here, oh, sorry, here, yep, API key is here, and I can put a response node. So I'm using a custom node which I get from the private repository. Okay, as you can see, this says a repo node. Okay, let's run this thing for this application. Again, I'm creating a new development environment. I will be deploying my version, master snapshot. Let me close this test panel. This is the test panel for my new application. Okay, and this is this, let's put it Seattle. Let's see. As you can see, the service is also successfully executed. So that's it basically. In this video, I tried to show you how you can use these custom nodes, first of all, to share nodes in your application services, but you can also save these custom nodes. If I go back to here, weather application. Okay, you can also save these custom nodes in your, let's say, private repository, so that you can share this, let's say, custom node template in your other applications. Hope this was useful. Thanks a lot for watching.